Parks are usually a place for children to run around, people to walk their dogs, and even provide hiking trails to residents. They are generally light-hearted areas filled with fun. However, some parks hold dark secrets that won't let go. I present to you 5 haunted parks. Sunrise Park is located in Bartlett, Illinois. This park is the place of 3 different hauntings, and an alleged demon. In the 1800s, before it was a park, there was a one-room schoolhouse located on the property. Not far from the schoolhouse lived a man in his 40s. He lived in the woods and was almost completely isolated from the rest of the town. Parents of the children began to become suspicious of the man, claiming that they had heard screams coming from the woods where the man's house was. The parents came together and demolished the man's house in order to drive him out. However, this escalated things. Children began to go missing, and the locals believed that the man they tried to force out was kidnapping, killing and scattering the children's bones around the woods. To this day, you can hear the screams of the young children in the woods. People have spotted a ghostly woman dressed in a white Victorian-era style dress. It is not known why she is there. Spirits of African Americans are said to haunt the park, as the Ku Klux Klan burned people alive in the park. For some time, it has been reported that a black dog with the face of a human runs free around the park. It is believed that this creature is a demon. In Waco, Texas, you can find an impressively beautiful park. Cameron Park's history is as dark as it is visually breathtaking. There are several sites in this park that are haunted by its past. An area known as Lindsay Hollow is the final resting place of the Lindsay brothers. The brothers were cattle bandits. They met their demise sometime after the Civil War by ranchers dispensing vigilante justice on them. After the ranchers killed the brothers, they buried them in the hollow. This is where some people say they can still see the brothers walking around the hollow, possibly waiting for a time to take their revenge. The witch's castle can be found deep in the woods of the park. According to legend, it is a crumbling home of a devious witch. If you venture to the castle at night, your nose will be assaulted by the smell of rotting corpses. You could hear screams, gasps, and banging all around you, and if you're really lucky, or unlucky, you could even see the spirit of the witch herself. Lover's Leap is a wonderful limestone rock formation that overlooks the Bosque River. This impressive sight was the place that 2 lovers ended their lives. A Native American couple jumped to their death because they were not allowed to be together, due to their tribes warring with each other. People have claimed to hear their whispers and feel the lovers' presence. In the 1970s, near the tar pits, some motorcyclists were performing stunts. One man was not so lucky and ended up dying there while trying to attempt a jump. His mother went to the spot where her son was alive last every single day until she died. People have said that they can hear a woman weeping, as well as the sound of motorcycle engines. Jacob's Ladder is a set of steep steps that go up to nearly 100 feet. It was allegedly built by a family that lived on the bluff a century ago, but the structure is still usable due to renovations. While climbing these steps, women have felt a ghostly hand tugging at their clothes. The beautiful Jackson Park is located in Atchison, Kansas. This park has one eternal haunting, that is of the woman named Molly. Molly can be heard moaning and screaming throughout the park at midnight, in not that kind of way, you pervert. The story varies depending on who you ask. One alleges that Molly was a beautiful young woman who was found hanging from her neck from a park tree the day after her prom. Her clothing was torn, and it is said that she had an argument with her boyfriend after prom. This prompted her to leave his car, and it is unknown if she killed herself or if he killed her. Another version claims that Molly was a young African American woman that was dating a white man. She was hung in the park by intolerant townspeople. Along with the screaming at midnight, some have heard a voice yelling Molly, and then the apparition of a woman hanging is seen. Hummel Park finds its home in Omaha, Nebraska. The 200-acre park itself is allegedly one of the most haunted places in all of Omaha. Hummel Park has seen much death in its years. From satanic animal sacrifices to lynchings, this park has a sad, storied history. It is said that there is a Native American burial ground nearby, and people have heard drums and seen apparitions of Native Americans in the park. Horrifyingly, during the pre-civil rights era, it is reported that many racist lynch mobs hung African Americans from the trees in the park. According to this legend, the lynchings are the reason for the bow in the trees themselves. People have reported seeing their ghostly images still hanging from the trees, and some have heard the screams and cries coming from the park in the night. The Morphing Stairs is one of the most visited places in the park. It is a long stone staircase that is said to morph. Located at the top of the park, no one has been able to come up with an exact number of how many stairs are in it. When someone counts them on the way up, it will not match the number they count on their way back down. 2 recent murders have taken part in the park. The skeletal remains of a 12-year-old girl was found in 2006, and the body of a woman working as a prostitute was found there and was believed to be murdered inside the park itself. Agonizing screams can be heard coming from the park, as well as floating figures amongst the trees. There is evidence of satanic worship appearing all over the park. Remains of animals that have been slaughtered have been discovered all over the park, as well as graffitied pentagrams and other sacrificial symbols. Not necessarily a haunting, but adds an extra air of negativity, as if this park fucking needed more. The famous Hollywood sign finds its home in Griffith Park. Just like Hollywood, Griffith Park has its own abundance of dark history. The paranormal activity reported at this park is so voluminous that it is hard to take into account each of the hauntings. From sightings of the original owner of the land, Don Antonio Velez, to a ghostly young girl, and to the man the park was named after, J. Griffith. Ghostly sightings are abundant throughout the park. After being screwed out of the land, the niece of Don Antonio Velez is said to have put a curse on the land. Donna Petronilla is said to have yelled that the cattle and the fields would die, and that no one would ever profit from the land. Also, that the men who helped in screwing her out of her inheritance would die an abrupt death, and in other violence. The land has since been plagued with wildfires, droughts, and tragic fates. Petronella is one of the spirits that can be seen in the park, and is the most frequently reported. She is said to be wearing a white dress and riding a white horse. A hotspot for paranormal activity is at the picnic bench where Nancy Jensen and Rand Garrett were unfortunately crushed to death by a tree. According to the park rangers, a paranormal force has prevented them from getting rid of the tree. You can hear disembodied moaning and whispers in that area, as well as some people getting messages written on their car windows. Griffith Park also bears remnants of satanic worship and animal sacrifice. A black-eyed humanoid has been spotted around the park, and it is believed that it has something to do with the satanic worship. Peg Entwistle was an actress and in a bad place during 1932. She flung herself off the H from the Hollywood sign. People have claimed to see her jumping from the sign, vanishing before she hits the ground. There are also reports of smelling her perfume around the area. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my video, please give it a like and share. If you want more weekly weird content, then subscribe to my channel and check out my other videos. Sleep tight, friends.